Hello and welcome to the Are We There Yet podcast. I'm Michelle Abraham. I'm your host, and today I'm joined by Megan Mae. Megan is a career coach, and it really helps people transition into the freedom lifestyle that they want to live. And I'm really excited to have Megan here with us today. She's going to share with us her story and how she got started as a career coach and why she's inspired to help people transition from a 9-to-5 job into a more remote job or job they can do on the road or from their RV. So Megan, welcome and thank you for being with us today.
Hi there. I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Can't wait to share some great information with everyone.
Awesome. So Megan, tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from and how you got started being a career coach?
Sure. So I live in Austin, Texas. I'm actually originally from Maine, so the northeasternmost state. I got started as a career coach because after going through just several different careers in my 20s, in and out of offices, I realized that, you really spend a lot of time at work. You spend most of your time at work. And I also noticed that a lot of people really aren't all that happy with their work. And I really wanted to change that because, life is short and it's really important that you enjoy what you're doing and you enjoy your time and you find the right match for you. We're also very busy and it's important to be able to see the world. So for me, I love helping people design a career that works for them, that works for their lifestyle, and that makes them happy.
That's awesome. And so now, Megan, have you done some traveling while you've been working remotely as well?
Yeah, definitely. So for me, I'm a career coach now, so I can work from anywhere in the world. But I've also filled several corporate jobs that I worked from home at that also allowed me to travel while I was working. So I've been to London, I've been to Miami, I've been to Paris. Right now I'm planning a trip to Dubai. I'm constantly mobile, and my work really allows me to live that laptop lifestyle and take my career wherever I go.
And that's awesome, Megan. And what can you tell us about people who are maybe looking at getting into a career like this, where it's mobile, you can be anywhere in the world? There's a couple of different ways of having that flexibility and that freedom in your work lifestyle. Can you tell us a couple of different options for people?
Absolutely. So there's a few options. The first option is really to get very well versed in the internet and become very digitally savvy. Because if you have great computer skills, you can really do any job associated with the computer from anywhere in the world. So if you can really skill up in that area, you will be the most successful with having flexible work. But with that said, there are opportunities for you if you don't want to work at a computer. Most of those are more temporary, so temporary or seasonal, and you may have to make decisions based on where that opportunity is in terms of where you travel. But you can be a tour guide, you could be a restaurant worker, you could be a resort worker, you can do nannying, you can be an au pair. So there are several opportunities in that area as well. But like I said, skilling up and having great skills on the computer will really benefit you the most.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you're talking about my background. So I used to work on cruise ships all around the world. I used to be a nanny in Switzerland. I worked in ski resorts all over the world. I've worked in all sorts of seasonal jobs. And, I love that. I think that was really great in my 20s, and I could travel everywhere. And I love, especially being on a cruise ship where I was in Mexico every Wednesday for 6 months. And I was in, Bermuda, and I was all over the world, from Alaska to Europe on cruise ships. And then I came home and I got married and had kids. And so now for me, that kind of lifestyle wasn't really feasible. Living with a family, I don't want to leave my kids and my husband to go, work on a cruise ship or work at a ski resort or anything. So actually, it's interesting that you said that being computer savvy is one of the things, because that's what I what I did is now I work online and I work with, you know, technology and digital media and stuff. And I think that's been really helpful for me to transition. So what are some things people can do to kind of up-level their skills and get ready for a career that makes them more mobile?
Sure, absolutely. So there are so many different training boot camps that you can go through these days. So, you know, for instance, if you want to be a web developer and start working on websites, you could do a 3-month boot camp training. I know some really great schools. There's one called General Assembly that is located in major cities. You can go through a 3-month boot camp. They then help you find a job. So you could even specify that you want a remote job and they'll help you find one. So there are a lot of trainings, even trainings that you don't have to be on campus to become skilled in that area. You can go to udemy.com. There's a website called Coursera. So there's a lot of ways to get these new skills, whether you want to become a graphic designer, you want to be a copywriter, or you want to be a web developer, like I said. So there's really a lot of ways that you can upskill yourself just from finding online trainings.
Awesome. And so now your experience, though, has been more working with a corporation and doing some traveling. So how do you find a job that allows you to travel within a corporation?
Absolutely. So, you know, it's 2017. A lot of employers these days recognize that people want a flexible schedule. They want to be able to go different places in the world while they're working. And so a lot of major corporations offer work from home opportunities. So there's one really great website that I love that I have found those opportunities on. It's called flexjobs.com. That's flexjobs.com. There is a small fee. I think it's $13 a month or $160 a year, but there's some really, really great opportunities listed there. Legitimate, high-paying opportunities that offer health insurance that you can do from anywhere in the world. So we're in a really fortunate time right now for this type of work, and it's just a matter of finding the right company for you.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, we're in Canada here, but some of our government jobs are even now being able to be remote and work from home opportunities, which is really great. So I think we're really fortunate. And it's interesting because, you know, I live off the grid here and I work online, and that's how we're able to do this. And my husband is, you know, just doing some boat maintenance and things. But it's interesting because when I talk to people, especially older generation, they're like, what? How are you living there? And how can you do that? And I don't get it. And, you know, I think we're so lucky because that was not even in the horizon, you know, 15, 20 years ago. That was not something that people were able to do back in the day. So I think, you know, our opportunities are that's so awesome. So Megan, tell us a little bit more about you and how you decided that you wanted to help people kind of transition from the 9-to-5 in one place to maybe more of a work remotely kind of situation.
Sure. Yeah. So I have picked up a lot of this expertise in my journey, and I really just decided that it's time for me to share it with others. And I also have noticed that a lot of people are living their lives and they're not happy because they're not in a job that they like, and they don't realize that there is a world of other opportunities out there available to them, and they don't know how to tap into those resources. So I decided that I wanted to make it my mission to go out there and connect people to the resources they need, show them that it is possible if they can just get beyond, you know, any blockers that they might see, and really kind of transition into a life that makes them happy. And career coaching for me is something that allows me to connect with people from all over the world, from anywhere, just by using the internet like we're doing right now. And it's fulfilling, and it really is something that that creates a lot of positive change in the world. So that's really why I started pursuing this path.
And I think also it creates a lot of happier people, right? Because people then are not only stuck in a 9 to 5 job that they have to commute 2 hours to. And then that was my husband's situation. He was commuting like 2.5 hours a day to get to a job that he no longer loved. And, I think that's something that, I've seen him change like into someone who's so much more relaxed and happy. And like, we love that family time together now. We're spending more time together, even though we're working just as much, but we have more time together without the commuting. And, it's really interesting. I share a passion for this with you because, seeing that transition, and I see why it's such a passion of yours, because, seeing that someone transition from that kind of work environment to a work more flexible, lifestyle is awesome. So now, there some things that, people transitioning into this kind of lifestyle should be aware of? Like what's some things that can happen?
Sure. So there's a few things that can happen. First of all, you may not necessarily be around people every day, all day. You might find that you're, either home or in a hotel room, or maybe just, kind of by yourself more if you don't have a family. And so you really want to make sure that you also have a good social life and that you're getting out and you're connecting with people in person. That is, if you do choose to go the route where you select a job that's, computer based, you might end up, just getting a little stir crazy. So make sure that you have good social connections, that you're going out to chat with people or maybe have a coffee for a break in the middle of the day, and not getting that cabin fever, I guess. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you do decide to pursue this type of work. Another thing to keep in mind is that you need to learn how to really manage your time a little bit more, because you likely won't have the 9 to 5 schedule. So, really carving out a time of the day where you're going to do work, and then carving out a time of the day that's set aside for your work. Making sure you set your own schedule for yourself. You'll have a lot more responsibility to do that working from home. So those are kind of two things, and also just you'll really need to be more self-motivated. If you can master those three things, then you'll be good to go.
Yeah, and one of the things I found when I transitioned to working at home was that I struggled to not let laundry and dishes distract me from my work, because if the house wasn't clean, I couldn't focus on what I was doing. So I actually ended up opening a co-working space because I needed to go somewhere else to work. Even though I was trying to work from home, the home was driving me crazy. And if it wasn't clean, I couldn't work. So I think finding a space in your house too, that's your space, and that's like this is your workspace. And then when you're not there, you're doing other things. Because I think the boundaries can get blended a little bit unless you, like you said, are very like specific about your time working and your time off working.
Yeah, absolutely, because the home life and the work life can then mend together in a way that might not work for you. So it's important to structure it properly.
Yeah, exactly. I love that advice. That's such good advice. And so, Megan, tell us a little bit about your trip to Dubai. What's coming up for you, and why you're heading to Dubai?
Sure. So actually, my boyfriend lives in Dubai. We have a long distance relationship, but we travel the world together all the time. So a lot of the major cities I've been to in the past year, he's come with me. So we're going to be spending some time there. We're going to do a desert safari, which should be really cool. We're going to see the Burj Khalifa, which is one of the tallest buildings in the world, which should be amazing. And really just experience a new and different culture that I haven't experienced before. So very excited for that.
That's awesome. And now, so when you're away, what is internet connection an issue for you? And is it something that you think about before you go anywhere?
So it's definitely important to think about that, because based on where you go in the world, you may have a different type of internet connection, or there might be different internet laws. So it's important to research what you can do online where you're going, because you may not be able to do some of the things you do in North America if you're based in North America in different parts of the world. So it's important to research that so you don't get yourself into trouble, and just be prepared for when the internet may not be so sharp. And if you're going to a location where you need to find great internet, make sure you identify those places that you can go to before you get there so you don't find yourself in a bind.
That's great advice. And it's interesting you say that because it's something I never really thought about. Like, I know some countries you can't do some social media sites. So if you're a social media manager, that's a real big problem if you're going to these countries, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's certain countries where, you can't do online fundraising. So if you're someone that, is helping a friend out with a crowdsourcing campaign for a startup, or, even a fundraising initiative for helping someone that may be in a little trouble, there's some places where that's not legal online. So you'll want to make sure that you don't do that where you're not supposed to, and that you're well aware of those laws before you get there.
Oh, that's great advice. Thanks for that, Megan. It's something I never even thought about. So thanks for bringing that up. And, I wanted to
Yeah,
ask you,
absolutely.
I wanted to ask you one more question about your experience as a career coach. So you've seen a lot of people come into your world ready to make a transition. What is something that you see over and over again that you would want to recommend to people to be prepared for when they transition?
Yeah, definitely. I think the number one thing is just to be mentally prepared, because a lot of times people might, think they're really prepared to make a change, but they're not quite sure what it's going to look like on the other side. So really getting to a good place, understanding that you're going to have more uncertainty, and it's going to be your finances might be a little different. The money that you bring in may come in different ways if you're exiting standard corporate job. So really be prepared for that mentally. But also, if you are keeping a corporate job and you're just bringing it remote, just again being ready for those three items that we talked about a little bit earlier in terms of time management, and making sure you're getting enough social time in, and just having a dedicated workspace. So just being really well prepared before making the shift.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that, Megan. That's been great. And I want to thank you for being on the Are We There Yet podcast. We're looking forward to your family RV summit coming up, your interview on the summit. And we're going to dive deeper into working abroad and working on a career that's remote, and where you can find out more information about that. So make sure you check out Megan's interview on the RV Family Summit coming up. So thank you, Megan, for being with us today. And we look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Thanks so much. I look forward to it too.